Number 10 is kind of the flip side of number 9, though. So if we want to avoid putting too much code in our content, how can we give our content editors more power to do things? And the trick to that is make your content configurable, especially your design-based content. As I said, the design-based content is often just like the props for your components, right? So your design-specific content can expose properties to allow your team to determine how that component is rendered. A very common one that we have in our demo is like, there's like a hero with an image that can go on the left or the right. So now you can make this, you make it easy to do that. Another one I know we have on our site is some of our components are meant for like targeting developers for that content. And it's like, there's a dark mode property that'll make it render dark.
Another example would be like a news listing component, like the number of items to show before a page view, or show thumbnail or don't show thumbnail. Then you can reuse that component in different areas and just change the properties. And then over here it looks this way, and over here it looks this way. It really allows you to develop kind of one solution on the development side, but then your editors have this whole toolkit of components that can do a whole bunch of different things.
Now, here's an obvious one that I think is obvious, but it's not totally obvious. Don't put secrets in your content if you can ever avoid it. So I say, yes, make your content configurable, but don't put all your configuration settings as a developer inside a content item. I've seen this before where there's a shared content item, which is essentially like a config file or a .m file replacement to make it easier to change that. Please don't do that. Content is meant to be like delivered to external systems. You don't know how those external systems are going to treat that content over time, and they may use your secrets unwisely. So just like we don't want to put keys in our code, we don't want to put keys in our content either. Not a good idea to do that. There are lots of other ways to do that. Options are good. If you have component that allow different modes of display, different themes, they can be powerful tools for your team, saves on developer time. So it takes longer to develop a component that has lots of configurability into it, but it can it can be more useful than having multiple of those.
There's a good balance there, but number of properties and expandability.
So, and point 4, options are good until they aren't. If you have too many flags, too many fields, too many options, then your team is not going to understand it. So pick the happy medium, talk to your users before you build stuff, before you sort of architect your design specific content to make sure that the number of options kind of fits.
I've seen people build modules, or what we call modules, or kind of components with 30 or 40 different properties. And so it's really powerful. You can put the module on a page, you can change all these properties, and then because of that, you can have one module that does a whole bunch of different things, which is kind of cool. But then the new people come in and they're like, I don't know how to use this module. I don't even know how it's going to render with all these properties. So you got to balance the usability there with the flexibility and expandability in the future. And sometimes it makes sense just to take a module and copy it, and like code-wise, it's the same code. But actually, from the editor standpoint, you have a few properties on this one, a few properties on this one, and you name them more accordingly to what those components will actually render and do. And so you only coded once, but you actually make it easier for users to use them and understand them.